Am I the butthole for telling my dad he needs to man up and be a father? I, 16am, have 3 younger sisters. 11, 9, plus 9. Our mom passed away due to complications with the twins. From a pretty young age I took a lot on with looking after my sisters because my dad was struggling with grief. My aunt lived with us until the twins were about 18 months, but after that it was all on me. I've never minded. When my sister was 5 her school was talking about moms and dads, and she came home and asked if I was her mom because she didn't have one. Since then it's sort of been a joke, and all 3 of them call me their brother mom. Anyway, my younger 2 sisters have just started their periods. I learned how to deal with them pretty quick after my first sister, but our dad is still pretty clueless. 2 days ago I was cleaning a pillow one of the girls had bled on and he got pretty angry, and treated it like she'd pissed on it. Asking her why she hadn't just held it or gone to the bathroom. I tried explaining that periods didn't work like that, but he didn't seem to want to listen. I sent the girls down to the store to go buy some chocolates and we had a pretty big telling match, at which point I said, "You need to stop using mom as an excuse to be a crafty guy. Man up and be a effing father." He left, the girls came back and we settled down in bed to watch movies and eat snacks. My aunt showed up and called me an ungrateful little vagina, because I don't know what it feels like to lose a wife. I told her she doesn't know what it feels like to lose a mother and be forced to take on the responsibility of 3 kids. Basically, everyone is just fighting now. Dad didn't come back until this morning, but he did apologize. I told him an apology wouldn't cut it and have since refused to talk to him. Am I the butthole? I know I could probably work with him and help him, but I'm so bitter I don't want to. First off, I'm so sorry you lost your mom. Losing a parent is one of the hardest things to go through, especially at such a young age. Secondly, thank you for stepping up and taking care of your siblings. That's a big responsibility and you seem to be doing it with a lot of caring and very little resentment toward your siblings. Third, you are not the butthole. Your dad needs to be an adult, and I'm so glad for you that you found the wherewithal to call him out and demand better for yourself and your family. Stick to your guns. Lastly, I can't believe your aunt called you names and diminished both your grief and your continued parenting of your siblings. How awful. Don't listen to her. You are perfectly entitled to your feelings of anger and demands for your dad to step up. Original poster replies, "Thank you. I just want to do my best by them, honestly. You sound like you are an amazing young man and a phenomenal brother. I am so sorry that you are in this position. You've basically lost both of your parents and been forced to become a parent yourself, and it sounds like you are handling the situation with grace and remarkable maturity. You are absolutely not the butthole. Your father and aunt are buttholes. Losing your wife is no excuse for crawling into a bottle and shirking your responsibilities as a father. Your aunt is pathetically enabling his pathetic behavior. Disgusting. If there is a heaven, your mother is up there bursting with pride at the remarkable young man you've become. You have been forced into a terrible position and you have stepped up and taken wonderful care of your sisters whilst the adults in your lives have checked out. I don't know you, but I am so proud of you. Thank you for being there for your little sisters. You are incredible." Young man? Wow. From the original post, with such an understanding of menstruation, though this was a teen girl, you are going to be a great husband and father. I'm proud of you. Low like the second thing he says on the very first sentence of the post. He says that has a 16 yo m. I admit, I kind of skipped over that part. Something about the parentification happening, my brain assumed female, even though I just read male. Same. Skipped right over that and went back to it after the brother mum bit. Same. I had to go back SND double check. Lol, okay, I can see how that would happen then. Embarrassed smiley face, my B. It's kind of sad. I mean, such an understanding of menstruation. Like, I don't know, I was more surprised that the father didn't know. Like, isn't not being able to hold in menstruation just a super basic thing to know? Like, doesn't everyone know this, male or female? I'm not sure what people think tampons and pads are for if you can just hold it. It's optional and just so they can do their business wherever they want. Don't you know that's why they're taxed? /s before it's even necessary. If daddy hadn't been such an asshat, this probably would not have happened. However, I also think there have been buildups of smaller incidents and this was just the proverbial straw. I think the period has a tendency to freak some guys out, and it also demonstrates life and maturity is moving on. Sadly, if daddy continues like this he may well end up on the outside of the family looking in. When these girls get married, if that is in their future, I hope it is brother who walks them down the aisle rather than the sperm donor. It's laziness. I'm a man and it's 100% lazy squeamishness. Willful ignorance? Whatever you want to call it, there isn't really an excuse. It's not that gross. It happens. My wife has bled on the bed before by accident. You know what I do? I change the sheets and put some peroxide on the stains and then wash them while she can go take a shower and freshen herself up so she can feel fresher / not worry about it. Thank you for being a decent human being. You would be very surprised at the sheer number of people's sexual education has failed. Also disappointing that the dad has been through multiple pregnancies with his deceased wife and still doesn't know how this works. I can be more understanding when it's teen guys who had no sisters in southern USA public schools sex ed. Yeah, this dude was with his wife minimum 8 years based on ages of kids, before she died and never learned that periods are involuntary and gradual? Did they have a marriage from the 1950s or something? You would be surprised at how ignorant many people, both male and female, are when it comes to menstruation, pregnancy, basically anything having to do with the female body. Some are ignorant due to religious beliefs and cult-like upbringings, some just because of how they're raised, and some just don't care because it doesn't pertain to them. I'm sure there's a lot of other reasons, but those are the ones that I have come across the most. No, I did a double take and went back to double check. I read right, they said, when I saw what they understood about periods because it was such high level of understanding from what is normally expected of men. For people my age, 30-ish, and younger it's more common to have the education, but men a generation up there's a lot of misinformation and lack of knowledge. Dating though, I still met men, usually who immigrated and came from a different culture about periods, who had a lot of fear, disgust and ignorance about periods. It seems like he went out and educated himself on it in order to help his younger sisters out. That's impressive. He is definitely more of a parent to them than their bio father is. There was this thread about all the clueless things men said about menstruation or pregnancy. You have no idea what stuff is swimming in their heads. Total ignorance of anatomy and simplest things. You would think so, but unfortunately, generally men have a sorry lack of understanding about female reproductive biology that it's almost laughable. I blame the patriarchy. Op is both an exception and an exceptional human being. He already is a great father and husband, to his sisters an ungrateful father. It will be another 8 to 10 years before he can be that to anyone else at this rate. Poor guy, good heart and good brother with a tough situation. Bursting with pride, I don't know Op, and I teared up reading this. Op, you are an incredible person. Holy cow, this. My dude, you are 1000%, not the butthole. You are an incredible young man and your sisters are so lucky to have you. I sincerely hope a long series of deeply excellent things come into your life, post haste. Thank you so much for not shaming your sisters for bleeding on things. It's really hard to manage when you first start it. I bled on a chair, sewed on cushion, while I was wearing a pad once, and just painted it over with blue paint and never said anything. I figured it would be less embarrassing to just say I accidentally smeared paint on the chair while painting. It was an old chair that came with the house, that literally no one cared about. I still have the chair. I've watched friends sit in that chair multiple times. In my paint-covered period chair. And the secret dies with me. I'll probably take it with me when I move out. It's a good chair. The aunt is also at fault for not helping out more with her nieces and nephews given she knew her brother was failing so hard as a parent. In any case, you'd think she'd be keen to help out with stuff like periods. Who did she think was going to tell them about puberty, the period fairy? Whilst there is nothing wrong in a dad or brother doing that, any woman with any empathy would want to do that for their motherless nieces. Upvote for the period fairy. Nope, not the period fairy. Yup to the hormone monstrous. I disagree with this statement. Unless they are your kids, it's really not your responsibility. She may not even live in the area, she may not like kids. However, she isn't off for calling original poster names and the things she said to him, but not for not assuming a mother role to kids she had no part in making. Well, I agree partly with you, but she could at least have discussed with him situations like this to see how he could deal with them. But I feel like people like the aunt would always rather have a go at a victim like original poster than actually put themselves out to help. I've had aunts like that, but down the road they like to remind you of how they helped you. F-king sick if you ask me. They also like to snoop around and sniff for information regarding my family life. When they can't get it, they send in their informants, my cousins, to go sniff around and see what's happening. Fathers that can't tell people to FCK off are the biggest F-kin PCs. Not to mention, what kind of father leaves his children over a fight and doesn't come back until the next day? What in the actual F? Up? Do you guys have any other family you can turn to besides your aunt who has already proven to be of no help? You don't deserve to live like this, and neither do your sisters. This. Dad just up and left. No explanation, no plans for childcare. Why would he, when he's got Dad Jr. to handle it, and not even an ETA on returning? Wow. Wow. This is so beyond acceptable. Original poster is being abused. I agree. I would consider this child abandonment when he left and didn't come back. Parentification is abuse. In the case of the op, it is instrumental/material/physical parentification. It has far-reaching negative effects on a child's mental and physical health. The increased stress of having to parent actually changes the brain, shrinking the hippocampus, which regulates memory, emotion, and stress management. Hence, adults who were parentified as children or teens may experience the following: inability to trust others, involvement in violent or otherwise unhealthy relationships, inappropriate sense of entitlement or authority, difficulty functioning independently, higher chance of chronic physical illness, of anxiety, depression, substance use disorders, and eating disorders. The original poster needs to reach out to someone, maybe a counselor at school, to report abuse and neglect. Web link. The kind of father that has stopped parenting his children. It also absolutely blows my mind that some people can have literal children and still not know anything about the womb they came out of. Absolutely no excuse to not understand periods, especially when original poster understands then just fine. The baffling thing is that the mom died 10 years ago. I get that people grieve differently, but if you're still using the loss of your wife as an excuse to not be a father nearly a decade later, then you suck, and the wife would be ashamed of him for not stepping up when he was needed. On probably got the father's version of the story. Not the butthole. Anyone who shames you, give them the truth. My dad yelled and attempted to shame my sister for having her period. He refuses to learn and verbally berated her while telling her to hold it in. I am not willingly to have anyone hurt my sister, and I have no problem doing it again. If your aunt comes back with respect BS, look her in the eyes and say, "Are you able to hold your period in?" Original poster replies, "I'll definitely try that. Thank you." I think guys thought it was possible because of some of what they have heard. I don't like being tickled when on my period, because I feel like the laughing causes more blood to come out. I have no idea if that's true, but it feels uncomfortable, so I don't want to be tickled then. Other women have also said they don't like being tickled on their period. I think guys heard this and think sometimes, if I laugh too hard, I pee myself a little, and conflate the two things. Also, most people, guys and girls, aren't aware that the urethra and vagina are two separate systems. For men, there is only one tube that pee and semen come out from, and a lot of them think it's the same with women. They have no idea that women have a urethra separate from the vagina, and that, no, if I pee while using a tampon, I won't soak the tampon in pee. No, I can't hold it in. And they aren't the same thing. It is totes true. Sex, orgasms, sneezing, all sorts of activities can cause faster bleeding. Getting out of the bed at 7 a.m. and gravity suddenly letting you experience the goddamn Niagara Falls itself. The whoosh of clotted blood is just, no thank you. Like giving birth to a satanic jellyfish. Why is this so perfectly accurate? Oh God, this is so on point. It's been going on 7 years since I had an IUD put in, so way lighter periods. But as a formerly heavier flow girl, I will never forget. I got my IUD for the same reason. I called the days I would overflow my cup upon waking murder scene day. Right? Such a fun feeling, isn't it? Unamused face. Don't you just, Sparkles, love, Sparkles, hobbling over to the bathroom like a sim about to piss their pants. Lol, hobbling. I have to run like I'm auditioning for the Olympics, or else the blood will run down my legs onto the floor. My brother-in-law has asked me if I've just tried changing my pad/tampon more, and I'm like, I bleed through both within an hour, but thanks for asking. Sneezing really hard is the worst on my period. I guess I was never sure because it's not like I can measure the volume that comes out and then check that against times when I laugh or sneeze. That would be an interesting study, though. Dang it, now I'm laughing about it, and I'm on my period. I always thought the question on healthcare forms about whether my flow was light, medium, or heavy was pretty stupid. You mean per hour or overall the whole 5 to 7 days? You mean at the beginning or in the middle? And compared to what? Niagara Falls? A dripping faucet? And if you mean compared to other women, well, how the heck should I know? What kinds of show and tell do you think women engage in? Idiotic question. OMG, this. My poor mother-in-law was being evaluated for endometriosis and the doc asked her how her flow was, and she described it as pretty normal, I guess. Turned out hers was of the Niagara Falls persuasion, she just had no basis for comparison to what normal means for other people. I know, what's normal? Normal for her? Normal for me? The question should be more quantitative. How many times a day do you have to change your pad/tampon or risk leaking? Normal is a ridiculous concept because women learn to live with horrible periods because it's supposed to be normal. Your mother-in-law is being evaluated. Which means she has a son of marriageable age, so she is at least in her late 30s. And she thinks she has endometriosis. Poor woman, she has been experiencing incredible pain for decades. But she was likely told that cramps are normal and to suck it up, it's a part of being a woman. Cramps are normal, but it's on a spectrum. Normal is stupid. Yeah, this was a while ago, but I believe she had put up with at least 30 years of terrible pain and excessive blood loss. Normal is stupid. Think about what a period is and how it works. Your uterus is contracting in order to shed the lining. That's why you feel cramps. Anything that causes that area of your body to contract or squeeze, like laughing really hard or having an orgasm, for examples, is going to cause more shedding to occur and thus more blood to come out. As for the peeing stuff, wow. We desperately need better sex ed and anatomy in schools. I don't think ticking or sneezing causes faster bleeding, but they do empty out all the blood in the vagina. So instead of the slow tickle, it feels like a gush. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.